Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the most electrifying podcast in sports entertainment. Welcome to the Under the Ring podcast. It's me, it's your boy, the Silverback Outsider, coming to you live from the dirty, grimy ass BX. That's where I'm coming from today, boy. Joining me, as always, the man behind the scenes. He will pop in and out during the night, but the man, the producer, Mr. Wheezy, Mr. O2, Mr. Mongo is behind the scenes real quick. Mongo, pop your face in real quick, wave, and then pop right back out. Nobody, there it is. Nobody wants to see that face too long. Yeah. Turn it off. Yeah. Coming to us from Cincinnati, Ohio, my brother, the good stoner, Mr. Teacher Man, Mr. Mike Hall.
Mike Hall. What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing? What's going on, UTR? Hey, we actually had a good ass pay-per-view this past weekend. Money in the Bank was really good, so I'm happy about that.
What I am not happy about is what I'm about to say right now. Coming to us from Louisville, Kentucky, he is once again the undisputed predictions champion. This motherfucker right here.
Fuck that belt.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Fuck it. Fuck that shit. Maddie Reigns is back with us. You're right.
Maddie Reigns is back.
This guy sucks, folks. This guy sucks.
On the GOAT, the summer of Maddie continues. God Mode Maddie is back. Y'all had a brief intermission with Tito as y'all's champion, and I am back. And I don't got to defend this again until what? ROH? SummerSlam? It's one of those.
ROH is only like a week away. It's the 25th, brother.
It's when?
I think it's the 25th or the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken.
We got a few weeks.
We ain't got that much time.
You get to see Maddie Reigns for a few more weeks, and then we'll see what happens. I might be going to the Clash at the Castle.
Fucking Theory, man. What the fuck?
ROH is July 23rd.
All right.
2 weeks. Let's get it.
But let's get into a little bit of news real quick. The biggest news that I think we should probably talk about real quick is the fact that it now appears that Bryan Danielson is a lot more injured than what was initially reported. Yes, he did come out and say that he has functioning for, his day-to-day stuff. But as far as getting cleared for wrestling, no one knows that timetable anymore. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but there was a reason WWE had him on the schedule that they had him on. Right. There was a reason they had him fighting the way they had him fighting. It's called longevity of his brain. Yep. They wanted this man to be able to not have the shimmies and shakes when he gets older. You might have to, Reggie. You might have to come out to retirement to make sure that don't happen, man. Because this is getting ridiculous with some Maddie Reigns right here. But we all know Danielson is temporarily out of wrestling right now due to a concussion. The man had concussions before, which kept him out of wrestling, which forced him to retire. But, everybody loves the fact that, these wrestlers leave WWE and go to AEW, and they let them fight the way they want to fight and let them go balls to the walls every goddamn match.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you let people go balls to the wall every goddamn match. Your superstars get hurt. Hence the reason why, even though Forbidden Door was a phenomenal pay-per-view, hence the reason why more than half of the card changed for Forbidden Door because of all the people that were hurt.
They don't need to have another one of those.
And the crazy thing is, we saw this coming. When Bryan Danielson debuted in AEW, and even before then, when there was speculation, we were saying, I don't know if this is the best idea for him. Yes, he wants to wrestle. I understand that. But the way they go about things at AEW, like Kenny just said, balls to the wall every week, that's not the best idea, it's best fit for him. Like, I get it. He's a wrestler, but dude, you got to think about your life outside of wrestling.
Also, you got to think about, I know Matt pointed out one time that part of the reason that the AEW goes so hard every week is the fact that they don't have as many pay-per-views as WWE. I get that. I get that you don't have as many pay-per-views as WWE. You only have like 3 or 4 a year. I get that. Every week, though, somebody should not be leaving out on a stretcher. Every week, we should not be hearing about, this person was hurt at this week's taping of Rampage or this week's taping of Dynamite. You shouldn't hear that every damn week. Especially not when you got, listen, right now, AEW, your 3 biggest stars are out with injury. CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you about what you guys are doing? Slow down. Nobody's saying you can't still have a good product if you slow people down just a little bit so they don't get hurt. Let people run. Let people have more practice with matches. AEW, I believe Matt said this again also. AEW doesn't have house shows. Their house shows are Dynamite. So these people are not having enough chemistry with each other so that they're not getting hurt. That's the thing about house shows. House shows will give you the chemistry with somebody because you're working with them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You get a chance to work out those kinks. AEW, you need to start doing house shows so that way when these guys get in the ring together, there's chemistry and people aren't dying.
Right.
I feel I'm not going to put all the blame on AEW in this case because I'm pretty sure
Daniel Bryan is a grown ass man. He can say no to anything
like
he wants.
With Tony Khan, I feel like with Tony Khan, he went considering what his DB and his issues previously with concussions. I feel like TK did everything right. It's just accidents happen. DB knew that going into this, that there's a chance that the slightest move that might be harmless to any other wrestler could mess him up. Like, I know last week we were heading into Forbidden Door the week before last, but Tony Khan was on the podcast and he brought up Bryan Danielson saying he was about to be on the show up until almost about a week ago. He was about to be on the show. And because DB called him saying, I feel good. I feel great. I'm ready to wrestle. It took a second scan for them to basically make him sit down. He was feeling great. The second scan said, no, nope. You binked your head too hard. You need to sit down. So he's probably sitting at home chilling because it's a brain injury probably. He's probably just sitting up there feeling fine, feeling happy, but he has to let his brain heal. And his brain is, who knows how long that's going to take. Just like with Rhea Ripley. We don't know when she's coming back. She's sitting at home. She's doing enough to be on Twitter. So
hold on one second, man. I told you, Margo, that motherfucking ref on that Trey Miguel match looked just like Too Cold Scorpio. I was sitting here wondering, like, damn, did Too Cold get a new job? Like, what the hell? But I told your ass, Margo. But
yeah.
But Bryan
you
Danielson,
talking about the black ref from WWE? They used to be in WWE.
Yeah. Your man look like Too Cold Scorpio now.
Yeah.
And also, go ahead, Ken.
I was gonna say, Danielson is at a point where he's a top guy. He doesn't have to do certain shit. So yes, it's not all on AEW saying, "Hey, go out there and do it." No, AEW definitely isn't telling their guys to go out there and kill themselves. But at the same time, AEW isn't doing anything to tell these guys not to kill themselves either.
I think, along with them needing to have house shows to build that rapport, they need this. It's okay to have a good 5-minute match. Every match be 12, 15, 18, 20 minutes long either. That's in my opinion is also leading up to the injury. You having these long matches while going full throttle. You can have a short fire 5 to 7 minute match. Do what you need to do, get out of there. And make sure that both competitors are healthy.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this right now. To the everyday fan that's sitting at home, that it complains at this point in Bryan's career, he should be used as an attraction like they were doing with Punk. To a certain extent, yes, you're absolutely correct.
But I mean, they could do that, but at the same time, Bryan
is he going to want to
wrestle?
Do
he wanted to wrestle. That was the whole point. If he wanted to be seen as an attraction, he would have stayed in WWE. He's getting to do this. He's getting to do the stuff he wasn't able to do in AEW. He's gotten hurt. He's gotten hurt as a result of it. But he knew this was an outcome that could happen.
But if I'm not mistaken, didn't WWE offer him a contract that was going to allow him to do even Japan dates?
Yeah, they were going to let him do that.
So,
but that might not. But at the same time, that's only giving him a little bit of what he wants to do. If AEW's letting him do everything that he wants to do, and all he has to do is promise he ain't going to dink his head badly.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You gotta, as a company, you gotta look at your employees and go, okay, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but for your health, we're not gonna have you do this match.
All right.
We're gonna tell you not to do this particular type of spot. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're not saying you can't have the type of matches that you want, but just for your own safety, how about you not do this particular thing?
And that's the shitty part about all of this. We don't know what move it was that could have possibly got him concussed. It could have been something as simple as him hitting his head gently on the turnbuckle, but he hit it in that particular angle at the right amount of pressure. Well, he got a concussion because he's basically Samoa Joe, part 2. Every time it seemed like we turned around, Samoa Joe was getting a concussion. Now Bryan Davidson is starting to get like that. I don't think he's going to be as bad as Joe, but this is going to be the wake-up call like, hey, you've had one of these while you're here. If you have another one, you about to be sitting down. You're going to be sitting in the commentary booth with JR.
And it's important for TK and whoever producing, whoever, TK and the crew, it's important for them to say, look, bro, you need to settle down, okay? Because once again, it goes back to life beyond wrestling. Like,
I'm sure he's worried about that.
Like, what's the point of going full throttle if you're gonna wind up being a fucking vegetable in the next decade or so? You know what I'm saying? You'd be affected with shit like CTE and other issues with the brain when you can't properly function once you're done in in-ring competition.
Here's the thing. Like, man, I understand you want to wrestle the way you want to wrestle. I get that. No one's saying you can't wrestle. A shorter match could also, like you said, Mike, prevent a lot of injuries. And going to the point that I was going to make, a lot of fans are like, oh, would you want to see so-and-so in a 7-minute match? If it means I get to see more matches from that person with them doing 7 minutes, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take 15 7-minute matches from Danielson instead of having 4 20-minute matches.
Hey, DB also needs to realize Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. Also needs to realize you're getting old. Certain stuff that you were able to do, you just can't do anymore. Like, there's moves that AJ Styles used to do that he said straight up, I'm not doing that move. Like, his move he used to do up the top rope, he said, I'm not doing that. I could probably do that one time because I'm not young anymore. I cannot do a 650. I can't do a 650 and just get back up.
Listen, I can't do a walk down the street and fall and just get back up. Okay. Okay. So, I'm gonna tell you that shit right now.
Like, he got to realize he has the double whammy of he's getting older and he's had multiple bad
Injuries.
concussions, where to the point where when he retired the first time, he told everybody he had a seizure, recovering from one. So if you've had a seizure trying to recover from a concussion, you don't need to be doing that stuff.
That's not good.
So the fact that he came back the first time is a miracle. Now he's back again. So that's what I'm saying. He left himself open. It could have been the slightest thing that set his brain. I think that was one of the things that WWE was constantly thinking about too, which is why they protected him the way they did. He never had chair shots. He never had any moves to the head or the neck. You know what I mean? Like, they protected him the way they did because they knew some shit like that could happen. Where, like, oh shit, if he sneezes too hard, he might be done. But what I was gonna say is, for the people that always complain, like, oh, they don't need to have. Why would you like to see your favorite wrestler in a 7-minute match? Here's the thing: going a 20-minute match takes a gruesome toll on your body. Yep. To put it in normal, everyday terms and everyday shit that people see, your average street fight that you see on the street between two random people, the average street fight lasts no more than 2.5, maybe even 3 minutes. Maybe. And at the end of that time frame, both people are out of breath or somebody's knocked out or something like that. and that's in 2.5 minutes. Imagine being physically active like that, where you're not actually full contact, but still the same premise for 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. Your body is going to get ridiculously tired. Yep. Ridiculously tired. So that jump in the air to do that drop kick that would look so fresh 30 seconds in is barely now going to get to the person's chest. Yep. Whereas before it was at the top of their damn skull. So if you're doing a longer match, you're putting yourself at risk for bigger injuries to happen. For slip-ups that turn into, ooh, damn, now you messed up.
And it's like a comment that Reggie just said, like, and I was thinking the same thing before he said it. They got to focus more on storytelling also. If you focus more on storytelling and then cut off some of that time with those matches, you get that balance. So a match that is maybe 12, 15 minutes long, you can cut that in half and have a promo building up towards another match or something like that, or backstage, something. Like, give your show more balance. Give your show more balance. And also, and I don't know if he ever said this, being Danielson, and I know that, and we all know that he wanted to wrestle, for himself. He wanted to do this because he felt great. And I know with a lot of entertainers, they want to do it for the fans. And I'm gonna say this: fuck us, fuck us. Look, man, your livelihood is more important than us as fans. We're gonna love you regardless. Fuck us. If you did this, man, if you did this in half that you want to entertain the fans and stuff to get the fans what you want, look, bro, we're good, okay? There is plenty of great wrestling out here, and we will still respect you as a legend in this sport because he is a legend in this sport. You ain't gotta go through this, bro. You ain't gotta go through this. You ain't gotta go through this for us. It's not worth it.
Not at all. Not at all. Now, I want to talk about another little piece of news real quick. A piece of news that has a lot of some of us wrestling fans really upset. Well, not me. What you call it? a lot of wrestling fans were upset. Not me so much. Not me so much. But
oh shit!
People were up in arms that the Twitter account that everybody thought Buff Bagwell was actually running, where he was going off on people.
That ain't him.
It ain't him. So a lot of wrestling fans were very upset about that. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. Hey, sis, I mean, if you want to leave, that's up to you. I don't know if
we just as lost as you are.
All right. Oh, a lot of wrestling fans. A lot of wrestling fans were upset at the fact that the Twitter account, it's Mag and BBL are too much. We should have known. We should have known. We should have known when he did that. But I think a lot of people were just hoping it was Buff, considering Buff's background, you know, with him having a little bit of trouble with alcohol and drugs. People thought maybe like the mixture, you know, finally made him click over to the good side. So I think that's what people were hoping for.
Maybe he got clean and he was just trying to be more personable to the fans. It wasn't a real person. That's what we get. Oh well, we got catfished.
It was a good catfish though. It wasn't, you know what I mean.
Now he's back to being crazy.
Right.
You know it's bluff now.
Yeah, now it's like, all right, brother, that's enough. That's enough. All right, let's get into some actual other wrestling news. Big wrestling news out of WWE. Our boy, the Crazy Russian Dragunov, had to vacate the UK title. So, in turn, they are running a tournament.
My favorite thing if it's not AEW.
Now, here's the thing. If you go on many wrestling websites, I'm pretty sure it has already been revealed who has won that tournament. We here at Under the Ring do not have enough money to pay anybody for leaking anything if we get sued. So we're not going to say it. If you go on most wrestling websites, you'll be able to find out who actually won that tournament.
Okay. The master.
See, we can't. Nope. We're not even saying that. Mongo, bleep that out when you edit this shit, because we ain't getting. We know no knowledge. Nothing.
We can at least say this. We won't say the winner, but we will say who is in the tournament.
We can say that the finals consisted of.
I wouldn't even say the finals. I would let them try and play it out in their head.
You got the whole tournament bracket?
Let me try and pull it up. I was just reading it.
You got the whole tournament bracket? Because I don't have the whole tournament bracket. I know who the finals were, and the finals was why you looking? The finals was I can't say nothing. Why you looking that up? I just realized there was another serious injury for AEW that really affects them, a major star. Santana.
Yep.
Santana got really injured at Blood and Guts.
I got it. So the NXT UK Championship Tournament, one semifinal at Trent Seven versus Oliver Carter. Mm-hmm. And the other semifinal was Joe Coffey versus Tyler Bate.
Yeah, you can figure out what that happened, what that looked like. Okay, you can pretty much figure out how the finals went.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for the finals, you had fuck it. You know what? Might as well say it. The finals wound up being Mustache Mountain.
Yeah, the finals are Mustache Mountain.
That's the finals
for the foreseeable future. Mustache Mountain, one of them
is your new UK champion.
I'll be glad when they get to come back to America at some point because NXT 2.0 keeps going over to UK and coming back. Why can't some of the people from UK? Why can't some of the people from UK come over if they ain't pretty and deadly?
I mean,
everybody else on punishment over there.
Everybody else, well, they brought over Baby Finn and had Baby Finn attack.
He had to leave because he lost that match over there. He lost the loser leaves NXT UK. He had no choice. Yes, Pretty Deadly should join Maxim.
Dupree.
Yes.
Dupree. I you know what's funny? Y'all hated the name. And I actually like it. That's the bullshit, yo.
I like
Max
with that gimmick.
Max Dupree, I fucks with. I likes the name. It sounds like an asshole. That should be.
No, he said you also.
That's right.
Orange Cassidy.
I sure enough do.
No Orange Cassidy slander, Mongo. No Orange slander.
Not one bit. Not one bit.
But like Kenny was saying, now that we told you who's in the final, Santana has gotten injured. Powerful. They keep Santana Ortiz have had a run of bad luck in AEW since they have got there.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is getting hurt. COVID.
And it starts with Chris Jericho. There was no reason for Santana Ortiz to be part of the inner circle from the beginning at all. Absolutely not.
It made sense at the beginning, but like the whole made sense when he was champion. Like, okay, these is my people. This is the inner circle. They're gonna keep me protected. After he lost that championship, the inner circle became pointless.
I think you got to remember, dude. That's LAX. They're still one of the best tag teams that are out there. They didn't need Jericho. They had a fan base. They definitely had a fan base. They did not need Jericho at all. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with them. All right. Another thing that happened in wrestling this week. We got a couple of good setups for some matches. AEW did do something right as far as storytelling. They put the belt on Wardlow.
It was time.
Yes.
They pulled the trigger at the right time for once. Wardlow is still red fucking hot, and they pulled the trigger, and he beat the hell out of God.
Man, I watched that match before I logged on here. He beat the piss out of Scorpio.
He beat the hell out of Scorpio Sky and the 30 motherfuckers that he had with him, and it was perfect. Because his whole run. But it's been perfect. His whole run since he's turned face has been him beating down a mob of people to get to who he needed to get to.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When he was trying to get the MJF, every week they had him beating down a mob of people. Why not have him beat down a mob of people to finally get that title belt? And they did it the perfect way. I applaud you, AEW, because I always got some shit to say about AEW.
I mean, that's why they can tell a story.
Oh yeah,
that's where they can tell a story. It's just if they can let it.
Hey, look who's back in the comments, y'all. I'm sorry. Look who's back. Big Daddy Wardlow finally got the best. Where have you been? One of our most loyal fans disappeared on us for a while. Glad to see you are back with us. Yes, we are excited to see that you made a comment. Yes, we are.
Welcome to hell.
But it was time because AEW has a bad habit of not pulling the trigger when it needs to be done, which I think is what was part of the meh factor for the Hangman Page title run. I felt that it took them too long to put the belt on him. So when he was red hot, it was different. If they didn't have the belt on him, they waited till they got cool, and then it made the title run seem
Mm-hmm.
So I think the problem with AEW, and I was just listening to a podcast on this, and they made a good point about it. I agree with it. AEW is still trying with that TNT title. They're trying to make sure it has legs on its own. It's trying to make sure we're trying to get out of we're post Cody. We're in the post Cody era. That title has been synonymous with Cody. Cody no longer works there. So now they got to start trying to venture off. Yeah, Cody's cool, but he don't work here no more. So let's build this up as the title.
Then what they need
to having Cody's shadow over it.
Then what they need to do is start having. They need to start. Then what they need to do is start having the matches mean something. Mm-hmm. The problem is every person that they put the title on has had about maybe 3 matches with the goddamn belt. And then they just been in the ring talking, and they've had a mob of people with them, or whatever the case may be. It's never really been just one person with the belt. Like Darby Allin had it, but he had Sting. You know what I mean? Like
Cody was that only person. The title was Cody's basically. It was the Cody Championship.
Right.
He was
now Wardlow.
That guy.
Now Wardlow could be the guy to get that belt back on that same stage because he has no one. He has absolutely no one, and they need to have him defending it. Defend it. Use it like almost like a real open challenge. All right.
Look, Mongo just got me to change the station.
You know what about that title? Do with what WWE has failed to do for a couple years now. Like I said, make that title whoever has to be a next in line for the main title. Mm-hmm. That's what it should be. That's what a mid-card title should be. And I think with Wardlow, I think they're finally getting to that point. Because Wardlow, he's going to be AEW champion at some point. Let him have a great run.
Here's the thing. What they need.
When you're ready to pull the trigger to put him in challenge for the main belt, they can do that.
Here's the thing, Matt. Going back to what you said with that podcast, they want that TNT title to have legs on its own. They need to do to the TNT title what they did to the TBS title. Jade with that TBS title has made it more important than the fucking belt Thunder Rosa has.
Yeah, and at one point, Cody made the TNT title more important than the AEW one because Kenny Omega he wasn't doing anything more during his run. He majorly just did promos and just went from show to show. He would have matches, but they were always non-title matches. So he could lose, or the Bucks would take a pin for him or something. But they really need to make that title be worth a damn. And they have the perfect person, like Mike said. Wardlow is that guy. They've been telling this story. We knew from the time that he got with MJF, all right, him and MJF are going to eventually split. That's where they're going to fight. He beat the shit out of MJF. Like you said, Kenny, he beats the shit out of people. Now we get a chance to, all right, I beat up all these groups. I'm one dude. He don't need to beat up groups anymore as far as I'm concerned. Now he just needs to beat people's asses.
Right.
He did it with Scorpio. Keep beating people's asses. And let it be either let us get him versus Keith Lee for the TNT title. Something. But if he's gonna move up, it needs to let him keep this title on. Let him be the TNT champion until we get the actual world title back. I do not want him getting no type of interim world title shots. Those title shots are pointless.
Right.
Like last night, Brody got that. He got that title shot. I turned it off. 1, it's the interim title. 2, it's Jon Moxley. I know Jon Moxley isn't losing. 3, it's the interim fucking title. It doesn't mean anything if you lose. It is not going to mean anything if Moxley loses. It's going to, if anything, it's going to, no, you know what? Scratch that. It will mean something because they're going to be like, oh, how'd you lose the interim title? Well, if you win it, well, it's just the interim title. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's like it's saying the champion needs to be available. If you're not fucking available, you should not be champ. You should not be champ.
And the one thing I will give AEW in this case, because WWE does not, the way I always went about when I started watching wrestling, and it should be like it's like this in sports. You want to be the best. When I started watching wrestling, I saw a person with a belt. Oh, how'd they get that belt? Ooh, they must be important. They got a belt.
Mm-hmm.
People in WWE do not be really caring that somebody has a championship. People in AEW, they're like, I'm here to be champion. And I want to be champion. Either I'm going to be All Atlantic, TNT, AEW, FTW, I'm going to get a belt. Tag champion, they want a belt. So they at some point, their AEW is never shy in saying who their contenders are. Now, they just have to execute their plan on how to actually do contenders because doing battle royals is played out. I'm tired of seeing battle royals. I'm tired of seeing tournaments in AEW because every time I turn around, it seems like there is another tournament.
It's because these things don't mean anything. That's part of it also. They don't mean anything. Like, what happened? Like we've been talking about it in the chat. The rankings. What happened to the rankings meaning something?
They don't know. They don't even know anything about the rankings anymore. It sounded good on paper, but they didn't know how to execute it. And honestly, I'm glad that they went ahead. If they're basically doing away with them and they're just keeping up with people's records just for the sake of it, I'm fine with that. But don't try and sit here and tell us after 6 months of the rankings not meaning anything, don't try and tell us when it gets to September that, oh, well, Jon Moxley's next opponent is based off of the 1 and 2. It'll be determined with the number 1 and number 2 people in the rankings fighting each other on Dynamite. No.
You know what I saw that was very interesting to me? Speaking of rankings, what I did see that was very interesting to me, I looked at Moxley's record. Moxley has been there pretty much since the beginning, right?
Yeah. Basically.
This man has only lost 4 matches while in AEW.
Yep.
Yeah.
Minus going to rehab, and I think he got hurt at some point. I don't remember, but
4 matches, that's it?
Can you have tournaments and rankings? Like top guys can have better seating, or is it too complicated? That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Just like in the NBA, in the NFL, the better record gets home court
advantage. Right. Better record gets a bye.
Right. The NFL, they get a bye. They don't even bother doing that. They basically are like, oh, you're number 1? Well, fuck you. That's great. Go in this battle royal. Don't get thrown over the top rope. So what's the point of you beating all these people up?
And during that tag match between Swerve and Keith Lee and Butcher and Blade, they tried to make it important in that match because there was a spot in there where I guess either the Butcher or the Blade, he was about to use a chair. And then the other one was like, no. Number 5, the rankings. I'm like, well, Why should we care about that at this point where you've neglected it for so many months now?
And
like don't try to just throw it back in there now.
And like Mongo said, FTR has been complaining for months and months on end now, being ranked number 1, and they haven't gotten a title shot. But they are the best tag team in the world. They got 3 belts.
Walking around with all the gold.
If they would probably be the Raw and SmackDown tag team champions. Sorry, Usos, I love y'all, but hey, they don't. How do you have 3 championships and you're ranked number 1 and you haven't even gotten a title shot? The Young Bucks skipped them for their title shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, this even to give y'all what happened on Dynamite. So they're not getting a tag title shot. They're still not getting a tag title shot because the Bucks are going to put the belts on the line against Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Sparks and Swerve and freaking Keith Lee.
But that's the storyline, right? So does that make it okay? Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because it's actually a storyline that can be written talking about how they. But you got to make the champions involved. You got to make the champions involved. You got to have FTR going, yo, Young Bucks, why do I keep running against us? Oh, it's not us. It's and have like the Young Bucks play it off and say, oh, it's illegal paperwork and stuff like that. And FTR can bring up the fact that they're VPs and shit like that because the Young Bucks damn sure brought up that they own the company.
Oh, so they brought that up last night. We started this company.
Right. They brought that shit up last night. So that could be, you're absolutely right. It could be okay if they acknowledged it more within the story.
Yeah. And Kenny, like, you being an avid boxer fan like myself, you know how politics work. They use the same thing for this. Like, they use the same thing for this. And FTR can look at them and say, you're ducking us. Mm-hmm. You are ducking us. And that's how you build that storyline and let it take off. And then you get to a point where they have all the belts on the line at All Out in September.
I was about to say, that's where it's going to happen. It's going to be at All Out if that is the plan. Now, will they do that? Who knows? They could. If they do, they're smart. Mongo just asked us, have we seen the card for Flair's pay-per-view? I've seen it. The show looks good. Ric Flair still don't got no match.
I was going to say.
The show looks great.
I was going to say, Flair don't have no goddamn match. It's his last match, and he ain't got no match.
Good.
I'm gonna just say this now as a spoiler for y'all. Guess what? He's saying it's his last match. It ain't his last match. It ain't his last match.
His last match
gonna be his last.
His last match was his last match should have been when HBK kicked his ass through the fucking moon and said he was sorry.
Also, if anybody is going to StarCast, go ahead and take advantage of that sale of getting an action figure of yourself and Ric Flair made. You'll also get your whole session.
All right, Mongo just put up the card for Flair's last match. You have the Impact World Title match between two monsters, Josh Alexander and the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu. You have the tag team match, the Briscoes versus the Von Erichs, which should be dope as shit. You got a 4-way match with Laredo Kid versus Taurus versus Rey Fenix versus Bandito. You got the Impact Knockouts title match, Jordan Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo versus Rachel Ellering. You got a singles match with Harry Smith and Killer Kross. Somebody about to die. You got a tag match with Motor City Machine Guns versus the Wolves.
That's a dream.
And you got a singles match with Ren Natata versus Clark Connors. Yo, this card is dope. I'm going to be honest with you. The match that I'm most interested in, because I've only seen one match of theirs. I want to see the Von Erichs.
I want to see the match I'm looking forward to seeing is Motor City Machine Guns versus the Wolves, because I definitely didn't think after everything that happened at the last Impact pay-per-view and all the last few months of Impact, I definitely was not expecting to see them tagging together again. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Mongo just said that the Von Erichs are good as I've seen only one match. And they were pretty decent in that match.
That's a great card, and it's going to be ruined with the main event of Ric Flair versus question
Death versus Death.
The
versus fucking Death. That's who it's going to be. Is it 249 good? Let me think about that.
No. I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it.
Is it fine? Is it fine in the legal? Is it fine in the legal link? Good, of course.
Yes.
Is it paid $249? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
249.
We're all part
here. You know, Rick
yeah, okay. I fuck out of here. Right, selling ghost wings. You know what? Let's go over this. Let's go over this goddamn bullshit that caused this son of a bitch to win this fucking belt back.
Godmo Matty.
Goddamn Money in the Bank. Overall, what did you give? Overall, what do you give Money in the Bank?
I would give Money in the Bank B-.
Yeah, I give it a solid B.
Ooh, Mongo with a 6 out of 10. Ooh.
I will say, for Mongo's sake, since I was keeping score for fantasy, I don't blame him for giving it a 6 out of 10 because Raw got completely over. I'm like, well, damn, Theory lost. Like, when Theory lost, I'm like, dang, they are like at -18. And the Usos won. I'm like, all right, cool. But that's still crappy. Theory literally saved them. I thought it was going to be Riddle. I had the celebration ready. If we had the math of fantasy, I turn it into a 1.5 out of 10.
Wow.
I mean, NWO, as usual, I mean, we're in first place, but, you know, we are still the only fantasy team we've never had a Money in the Bank winner.
Nah.
We've gotten cashed in on, though, a bunch of times.
About to happen again.
It happened again.
It's about to fucking happen again. It damn sure did happen again. All right, let's go over this goddamn card. All right, they started off the show letting us know what the fuck was going to happen later on, pretty much.
They had to give us some wonder because with no world champion, you gotta have the women go first. There's no choice.
Right. So they started off the show with the women's Money in the Bank a la de match. As we all know,
that match was boo-boo.
That match
was 16 minutes and 35 seconds of doo-doo.
Was a lot. It was a lot of a match. It was a lot of a match.
It was a lot of ladders.
Right.
It was. You know what it was? Yeah, I was going to say. I do think that they need to work on the women using weapons if they're going to have them in that type of environment. Like, there's only been a couple of females that we've seen that have really been able to use weapons. And it's been like Sasha, Charlotte, Asuka. Like, everybody else, when they try to use weapons, they kind of fumble with it.
It was...
No matter who it is.
It was just...
And then on top of that...
it was botchy.
Barely.
Super botchy.
Then on top of that, like, let's be realistic. Fucking ladders are heavy, bro. Right. Okay, a fucking ladder is heavy. Yes, these women work out, but these ladders, most of these ladders were like 30 feet taller than these women. All right? And ladders are fucking heavy, and they're clunky to begin with. I'm not too sure about that many ladders being involved in the match.
For the women, Yeah, they don't need to have ladders involved in that match. They need to find another concept in order for them to obtain that briefcase. Hell, have an elimination match or something.
No, the Money in the Bank works. It just did not work with this group of women. You had people that have been in the match before, like Becky, like Lacey, like Alexa and Asuka, but they don't really have the type of offense that involves a ladder. Now, Alexa, she can do Twisted Bliss off of a ladder, but for the most part, none of these women have finishers, have anything that you can even incorporate a ladder into. Shotzi, even though I hate that people ran her off of Twitter as a result of her botches, but even when I was watching, I could tell it wasn't just her. It was, I'll take out Becky and Asuka and Alexa as the veterans. Everybody else in there was nervous as shit, and you could tell.
And you keep seeing the comments keep getting highlighted. Raquel should have showed out with her power and strength. She should have been mauling everybody. She really should have. And the match was a no-go. The match was
everything they did didn't make sense. Shotzi was completely nervous. All of them had jitters. You can literally see that they were like excited.
Hold up, Shotzi baby. Listen, Shotzi, I understand your style is balls to the walls. Let's get it. Let's do it. I understand that. You know, Jeff Hardy's one of your idols. You know, you also going down the Darby Allin path. Stop a little.
She had an off night, and it just sucks that it was just worldwide.
Yeah,
and I don't blame her for leaving Twitter. Just to
also, Shotzi doesn't have to take the risk every single time too. I like Shotzi. I like Shotzi.
That's all.
I like Shotzi, but I've said it before with her too. She gotta chill sometimes because she's injured herself and others a couple of times. She gotta chill.
Like, she knew it was a big moment, and all of them knew it was a big moment. But like I said, it's just nerves, and none of them really have an offense for a ladder match. But you can tell, like I could tell that y'all probably rehearsed this, but everything y'all rehearsed, y'all need to do one more warm up, because guys are not, like, they just weren't in rhythm. And you can tell, just like when you're watching a basketball game, you can tell when the whole team out there is like, yep, he about to call a timeout because y'all are just y'all are just looking like trash. And they just did it on pay-per-view. It's just like, y'all are not doing good. I hope y'all know this.
All right.
But Liv, next match, it accomplished the mission. It got Liv the Money in the Bank. Someone said on Twitter that they knew Liv was winning because when she came out, she was crying. I ain't know she was crying because half the time she'd be looking like she getting ready to cry anyway.
That's my problem with her. That's my fucking problem with her. Why you always fucking crying, yo? I'm fucking crying all the fucking time. And my best friend. Shut the fuck up.
Hey, she won me the title. She won me the title because y'all ain't pick her.
Shut the fuck up, yo. Like, God damn it.
Damn Fury kid.
Yo. Theory. All right. Fuck that shit. Next match. You're right. Next match right here. Bobby Lashley, the Almighty versus Theory, and Lashley whipped that ass
and made him tap. Just like I said, it was gonna happen.
Fuck that man.
Just like I said, it was gonna happen. The podcast I listened to, they were going through. Do y'all think they said who do you think is gonna win, Theory or Lashley? I'm like, oh, Theory is gonna win. One of them said, if Theory is supposedly the next guy up and all this, that, and the other, what perfect way? Have him lose, get the title off of him, and let him go on to whatever he needs to go on to. I didn't know it was going to end up with him showing back up later that night. Right. That's what pissed me off. I think that's what collectively pissed off a lot of us. Yeah. If you're going to do that, just tell us. Be straightforward. But we'll say that for a few minutes. The next match, we had our Raw Women's Champion.
Bianca Belair defeated Carmella by pinfall. It was a good match. It was a good match.
That was 7 minutes. That was technically the shortest match.
No.
Technically, out of the cash in, if we don't discount the cash in should not be long unless you're like Dolph Ziggler.
Right.
But Bianca had 7 minutes. It did what it needed to do. We knew Carmella wasn't going to win. Don't waste our time. Don't even try and scare us. Just give NWO our points so we can be happy.
That goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's what I was going back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you can have a 5 to 7 minute match. It can be good, and it still accomplish what you need to accomplish. AEW.
Like, I'm sure if it was Rhea, if it was still going to be Rhea Ripley, that probably would have been an 11-minute match. I feel like Lashley and Bianca, probably their times, those matches would have flipped. They would have flipped in times if it was still Rhea Ripley. But since it's Carmella, just get it done in 7 minutes.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. The next match was the match of the night.
Woo!
Usos versus the Street Profits.
Them boys.
Of course, we know Usos retained, but this match was the second longest match of the night also.
That is the best match. That is one of the. I'm saying that was one of the best matches from the Usos. Usos got a whole catalog. The Street Profits. That was their best match. That was their best match, and that was the GOAT of all performances by Montez Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And by both of them, because Angelo Dawkins ain't no slouch. He ain't come a long way.
He damn sure did. Angelo Dawkins came a long way from the first time I saw his ass in NXT. Okay,
he went from being enhancement talent at NXT house shows to being a part of the match of the night at a premium live event.
Listen, first of all, Montez gained like 25 pounds of solid muscle, yo.
He's putting in the work.
This dude, Montez is literally pulled a Drew McIntyre without leaving.
Him and Bianca are on some some crazy, like I saw on Instagram.
Yo, did you see Bianca's arms on that pay-per-view? She was like, damn, Bianca's arms is huge.
I know a couple weeks back, it was after a Raw. They literally left Raw and went to Planet Fitness after Raw. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, y'all, like, that's another level. You just did a whole show. And now you're going to go to the gym instead of turning down and going to bed. You're like, nope, let's work out some more.
That's when you gotta think with Bianca, with Montez, they're both supreme athletes. Shit, Bianca was doing CrossFit before she wrestled.
And Montez was in the military.
Right.
Exactly. So these are elite specimen. Elite specimen.
Those 3 weeks so fucking hard everything.
Like, I'm so shocked that they even have time to go to sleep because they are always going.
Listen.
Yeah.
And they keep hinting about the Street Profits.
I wish they would stop.
It's even to the point where they mentioned it on NXT this week, the Great American Bash, which was doo-doo. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. For those of you who didn't watch the Great American Bash yesterday, here's the thing: Roxanne and Cora took the belts over Toxic Attraction. Everybody else kept their fucking belt. Blah.
I'll say Great American Bash. It got the point across ever since they've been doing these. They don't have takeovers all the time now. They have like a pay-per-view, a mini pay-per-view on TV. You know that you're gonna get at least one happy result, maybe two. But more than often, you're gonna be like, this could have been a TV show. Oh wait, it was a TV show.
Listen, it sucked. But anyway, let's get back to this Montez. They brought that shit up on there, but it's because Montez showed the fuck out, man. Yo, that's the reason I called him. But I was like, yo, you know how we like to call wrestlers, be like, yo, that's Matty Reigns, you know, Michael. I was like, yo, Montez, that kid is a star. That's me. That kid is a star. That's me.
And people fail to realize they don't need to split up for Montez to be a single star.
Well, that's why I already kind of don't think anything is going to happen. They're just considering, like, people tried to read into Montez looking at Dawkins all crazy, like glaring at him because he made a corny joke. I said that dude makes corny jokes all the damn time. So
right.
What is
That's
new? He's looking at him like, you really making another corny joke?
But that's what they've done. Like when it was reversed, Dawkins would look at Montez like that. That's just how they are.
All right. It may not, but listen. First of all, Montez might have one of the best frog splashes out there right now, man. Yo, first of all, your man can literally like leap across the entire ring if he really wanted to. That shit is crazy, and he can change positions of his body depending upon where you're at. That's some Rob Van Dam shit right there.
He's a freak of nature.
He's a freak.
And the fact that Dawkins is rubbing off on him the fact that Montez is rubbing off on Dawkins, because now Dawkins he be jumping over, he be doing that Roman, that dive over the top rope. I'm like, oh, you got hops like that now. Those Jordans ain't just
he did over the top rope. I was like, what the fuck?
I was as soon as his feet left the ground, I said, Lord, please don't let this boy land on his neck. Please don't let them feet clip that rope. Please, like, Lord, don't let them feet clip.
Right. Like, I'm like, I know he had to practice this a bunch of times to get that. Like, you could tell, like, when he landed, that boy had that Kool-Aid smile.
Like,
he was
mama,
happy.
I did it.
Like, I did
it. I did it, mama. I did it.
Like, see, Montez is the only one that could jump over stuff. It's me too.
The Dawkins is what, like 6'5", 275? Like, that motherfucker is huge. They'll be able to do that.
Yeah, Dawkins showed out the dive and Keith Lane theory over. Which you kill. Yo, Ted, this match right here put Street Profits on the map. Even though they were already champions before, they're going to be champions again very soon. And it's going to be a completely different reign.
It told a great story that this is the new attitude. We've been seeing the new attitude. Montez has gotten short. He's become he ain't got time for bullshit. That's all it is. He's short with me. You saw how that match ended. He said, I had my shoulder up. We clearly heard him say, why the fuck did you stop the match? I had my shoulder up because I was like, oh, he cussed.
Exactly. Like I wrote it on the thread. I'm like, these dudes are about to snap.
They're going to snap. We're going to see like the Red Solo Cup and all that stuff. Yeah, it's nice and all. They're going to do what they're having that moment that we saw the Usos have about 4 or 5 years ago. Remember, I hated the Usos.
But they were Power Ranger Usos.
Here come these Power Ranger motherfuckers. Here they don't they doing their little dance. I'm like, oh, I hate these dudes.
Wait,
like,
my favorite when they would do
It's like y'all paying homage to y'all's dad. Like, oh no, I fucking hate this. And when they popped up wearing forces, we was joking around, we called them B2 Oops.
Right.
But then they tapped into they tapped into the hood side because we know they hood. We know they act like some you know what's at times wearing grills and all that. And then they start.
They act like some niggas. That's who they are.
Then they popped up with Davidson's. Day one is sweeping. Then next thing you ain't heard me say nothing bad about the Usos since then. Oh, yeah, me and Jack are the Usos. I love the Usos. Usos, they the best. They the best team in the world. The Profits are having that moment. The stuff y'all was doing is played out. Yeah, we love Red Solo Cups. Yeah, we love the party. That's all nice and dandy. But it's time for, if y'all want to be taken seriously, y'all need to take them grins off your face, put a mean mug on it, and beat these people's asses, take their belts. Y'all here for a job. You want to be the best tag team. You can, but you can't be doing it if you're going to be playing games. They've realized they can't be playing games no more. They want the smoke. Yeah, y'all always saying we want the smoke. Fuck that. Bring the smoke. Bring the smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to do that eventually. The Usos, I don't know when they're going to lose those tag titles, but it's coming soon. They are going to lose those tag titles to the Profits.
Hold on, got a little bit of news from our producer real quick. It is Sasha and Naomi are now officially off the internal roster.
And like I say, every time we bring them up, I'll wait until WWE gets rid of them officially. They ain't getting fired. I ain't firing them until they say something. Because the way they're going, they could take because I look at it as this: they're off the internal roster. Okay, well, technically they're suspended, so you shouldn't be on the roster anyway. If you suspended, y'all gonna be on another part saying suspension over here. Now they did change their Instagrams
to professional wrestler.
Professional wrestler.
Mm.
Yeah, we'll see.
We don't know what.
Right, like Matt said,
Nashville for all we know.
All right. Next match on this Money in the Bank was Ronda Rousey versus Natalia.
I enjoyed this match because they have finally figured out Ronda Rousey's wheelhouse. Short matches, not doing much. Basically, it's a fight.
This actually wasn't that short. It was 12 minutes.
That's long. That's short considering some of the stuff they try to have Ronda do. This made sense. They were having a knockdown, drag out fight. All that shit they've been talking the last few weeks, and Natty talking about she was gonna make her tap out with a rack out. I'm fine with them going for 12 minutes. Hell, 13 minutes because of what happened next. So Ronda had to fight for 13 whole minutes, and she didn't injure anybody. Congratulations.
Bravo, Ronda. That is something to be very proud of.
She has found her wheelhouse. She cannot have a technical match. It's got to be somewhat sloppy and look like a damn UFC fight. You got to put her into what she's comfortable with. They figured that out.
And they made her. And they got her to get Natty to tap.
Yeah.
So that's a storyline in itself. They got her to get Natty to tap. Ronda had a bum wheel.
And she sold it, thankfully.
Right. Ronda sold the bum wheel. Liv came out. 35 seconds later, I can't believe I'm champion. Fucking crying Liv.
And as we brought up at the beginning of this recap, this was NWO getting cashed in on.
What a performance. Oh my God, are you kidding me? It's Liv Morgan.
Pat.
Liv Morgan.
This is my face.
It's coming to the ring. Is Morgan going to cash in?
Michael.
Morgan's going to cash in.
Michael Cole is about to piss himself.
Is Morgan taking about me?
See, they're happy. As the captain of NWO, this is my face during every cash in.
Champion. Oh,
this was my face.
This is some bullshit.
Like again.
I was sitting there like this. I can't believe this shit. We can't never have
our history at dating back to the first season that only lasted about 2 months because
of fucking Dean Ambrose.
We had Roman Reigns fighting our own Seth Rollins. We're like, oh, cool. We're gonna no matter what happens, we're gonna win. Previously in that night, Dean Ambrose decided to win Money in the Bank. What happened after Seth beat Roman? Dean Ambrose came out, cashed in on us. The greatest one. I went to Money in the Bank, and just a few days before, I traded Baron Corbin, and then I happened to go to Money in the Bank in St. Louis. And who wins Money in the Bank? The guy I fucking traded, Baron Corbin.
Oh my fucking
So
God.
that was a great moment. Or even for Team SmackDown, even though no one representing them is here, their luck with the Money in the Bank. They had the Money in the Bank winner in Carmella. She decided to cash in the night after our season ended. The Money in the Bank is not. Team Raw and Team SmackDown usually have happy moments with the Money in the Bank. And don't forget the greatest Money in the Bank when Brock just decided to show up. And we had like 3 people in that match. All I know is we took like a negative 20 something because
Yeah.
Brock
Bullshit.
and
Nobody
like
on Brock.
and like y'all were still SmackDown then, SmackDown DX. But like Mongo just said, Carmella is also the only 2-time winner, technically. She won it twice. She is the only woman who has held the briefcase longer than a day. So far, it has a 100% success rate. That 100% success rate has been the one thing that has pissed me off ever since they've introduced this to the women's division. At some point, somebody has to fail.
Right.
Nothing can have a 100% success rate. The men's Money in the Bank has failed. At some point in time, somebody has to lose. It cannot just be, oh, their Money in the Bank, I'm going to be champion. I honestly felt like the way that match went with Liv and Ronda, I'm like, whoop, wouldn't shock me. Y'all just made it a feel-good moment to give Liv the Money in the Bank win, not the title. Now they gave her the title. I don't. Liv got caught in an ankle lock. I thought she was done too. I really thought. I'm like, that's good. This is a good enough opponent, and it made sense at the moment. Ronda is a wounded animal. She's just trying to survive. She tried to lock her into that ankle lock, but Liv rolled her up. Liv had a smart person moment. Now the rumor is now, after all this happened, because Ronda just gave her a handshake. Some people thought Ronda was going to beat her up. Ronda didn't. She gave her a handshake and walked out.
I was going to say, Ronda finally understood what cashing in and Money in the Bank means.
Yeah, because that baby was confused the first time.
Right.
When Alexa cashed in on her and Nia.
You cheated.
Now, the rumor is Nashville will be Liv versus Ronda. I've also heard people saying, oh, Ronda was going home to that it was just her time to go. And that she was the one. She supposedly said she wanted Liv to beat her. Wouldn't shock me because everybody loves Liv. I think Liv is cool. She's not my cup of tea. But I recognize that she has worked hard and that she's trying. Like, she's good.
She's whack sauce. She's whack
cool,
sauce.
But she ain't somebody I'm about to be like, oh my God, I love you. She's cool.
She's
cool.
wiggity.
She's like Nikki. She's like Nikki Ash. She's like, oh, Nikki cool.
She's the wiggity whack daddy. The wiggity whack.
They properly built her. Like, they properly built her to this point.
They properly built a whack person. I understand that. They properly built the whack person. Y'all made that point perfectly clear, but she's still whack.
Reggie wants them to build up Shayna now to be that dangerous ass heel she really is. I feel like at this
time is passing on, Reggie.
It's past. Yeah. I don't think they've ever honestly recognized, like they've even seen her in that light as like the way that Triple H seen her. And then on top of that, her age is gonna just
play a big factor.
Play against her.
Yep.
And let's keep it a whole 100%. With the way that the women's division is looking, unfortunately, Shane is not everyone's cup of tea as far as eye looks. And if you're not a favorite as far as eye looks and everyone's cup of tea, you're not going to get pushed. Because let's be realistic, Carmella sucks. She's gotten better, but technically Carmella sucks. But Carmella's eye candy. So she's always going to be around.
Well, she has a good enough gimmick where she can be annoying enough. And then with her being married, like with Graves, with them pulling like being the straightforward, like, yeah, we're married. I'm married to her. With him going
that's the most
over her,
that
makes her hate it
dope
even
thing.
more.
That's the most dope thing that I think they've done in a while. The fact that they've acknowledged the fact that they're married. Yeah, I married her. Stupid. I know she looks good. The fact that he does that makes her more hated, and you're absolutely right.
That makes her way more hated because oh man, like she's so beautiful. Oh, it was already bad when Graves, like it was wink Graves was going goo over her. Yeah, because that's your girl. We know that's her. Like we know why you're doing that. But now he's just open. Like I hope she do win because I'm trying to have a celebration. We're trying to party.
We trying to fuck.
Basically, that's what he said. Like, I hope she do win. Shit.
Right. We still got one more match to get to. Let's get through this final match.
It wasn't Roman, y'all.
The final match of the night was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And at the last second, they threw Theory into that motherfucker. And that son of a bitch won.
I did not. I am amazed at the amount of people in wrestling Twitter that hate Theory. They hate Austin.
Really? I know. It's crazy. And the thing about it is he's good.
They don't care. They're like, they stand behind the stuff that was said about him. They feel like he got away with it.
Your man was like 19 and she was like 17. I'm going to be honest, like that shit happens every day in America.
They hate that he is basically on Vince McMahon's nutsack. Like, it's gotten to the point, they don't even call him by his name. They call him Selfie Guy.
Listen.
So when he won, they're like, I can't believe. A lot of people thought it was either going to be Drew or Riddle. A lot of people were behind Riddle. And they said, oh, Riddle gonna win. Selfie Guy. Oh, hell no. Nah. That means he gonna be the next world champion? Oh, hell no. Nah.
Listen, Margo pointed out, he said 99% comes from the allegations. Like I said, wasn't it proven that he was like 19 and the person was like 17? I'm going to be honest. If that was the case and the age difference, they could have technically... Oh, she was in nursing school. So she was over the age of 18 then. Okay, and so then if he's 19 and she's 18 or whatever the case may be, like, come on.
But they like
even if they were still in high school and he was 19 and 17, I have been in high school where there has been a 19-year-old senior in high school before.
I just feel like, well, I mean, if people hate him for whatever reason you hate him, I don't have a problem with Theory, Austin Theory, whatever he wants to call himself. I have no problem with him. I just hate the way they went about this because it was just 3 to 5 years ago. We had this same ending with Brock showing up out of nowhere. That's why I mentioned Brock earlier. And we just had the same ending again.
Yo, here's the thing.
It was
Theory, Hardy brother.
The Money in the Bank.
And even worse than that, because like the podcast I listened to, even one of them was excited about it and the other one was like, I don't like it. And he's like, it's nothing against Theory. It's the whole fact of if he's the chosen one, this, that, and the other, if Vince McMahon, like he's Vince McMahon's favorite, why do we have to go through underhanded tactics by adding him at the last second? Why didn't you, like they're saying, why did you have Adam Pearce go out there and do it? If he's so great, and Vince McMahon been showing up every other damn time, why ain't Vince come out there and be like, oh, nope, one more person going to the match. Theory, get out here.
Yeah, they could have
Theory comes out like, oh, thank you, Mr. McMahon. Something like that to that effect where we could be like, this bitch, he really cried to Mr. McMahon. Or he was this bitch, Mr. McMahon sees so much in him that he's like, even though you lost your U.S. title, I still see good things in you, kid. So I, as a consolation prize, I added you to the Money in the Bank. Oh, thanks, Mr. McMahon. Something like that. Don't just be like, well, there's one more person.
No, as far as your comment goes, no, she wasn't 13. No. The biggest beef I have with Austin, the biggest beef I have with Theory is the
that
fact
he ain't British.
He ain't British. This motherfucker looks like he should be British. I was expecting pip pip cheerio, all that jazz, Governor T, biscuits, all that to come out his fucking mouth. And this motherfucker hit me with the A-Town down. I said, what? The fuck was that about? That fucked me up. All right.
Now the match was awesome. I definitely thought Riddle was going into it. Everything made sense to me with that storyline I came up with. I'm like, oh, Riddle gonna win, and he gonna get his rematch. He gonna get his mandatory rematch because Roman can't duck that. He got to take that match. He gonna get his new match. But nope, he got murdered. He got beat. It's gonna be him and Seth. Almost everybody tried to kill him, a la Riker at that ladder match at NXT. Remember when I was trying to tell them, kill him? That's how they was treating him. He got Riker. They murdered Almost.
Listen, talk about somebody who fucking sucks. Talk about somebody who fucking sucks.
Almost is always going to have a job because he's big.
Listen, you know what? Here's the thing, though. Honestly, does he suck? He's no different than every other big man that's been his size in wrestling.
It's like
you know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is. We got spoiled by Braun with him being a freak and him being that athletic.
For every Braun and Veer, we have an Almost and a Khali.
I'm sorry,
because Veer can move.
They don't fit in wrestling no more. I'm sorry, they don't. Like, I don't want to. They don't fit in wrestling no more to me. I've said it before.
That's the bad part. They're always going to fit because they're big.
Every wrestling promotion has a big man. Think about it. Even Jay Lethal has Shrek Kid with him. Okay, like there's always going to be that oversized giant in wrestling. You know why? Because at the end of the day, what people fail to realize is, and people forget is that wrestling is a freak show.
Yep.
Wrestling is a freak show. And the way that you bring the way that you can bring people in to see the freaks is by it being the biggest freak you can possibly find. Don't forget, at the end of the day, wrestling was a bunch of carnies that went around.
Like they're talking about
he's still fucking sucks. He still fucking sucks.
Okay? Like that's why I kept telling y'all, like, as much as he sucks, he's always gonna have a spot on Raw. That's why they paired him up with MVP to shore up. He ain't gotta talk. Just stand there and look big. That's what he's been doing.
I'm sorry.
My thing is he ain't got to yell after everything.
It's like, shut up, hot breath. I know you got some hot breath.
I already told y'all what I think gonna end up happening with Almost, and y'all got mad at me when I said it. I told you. I'm telling you, Almost gonna end up being U.S. champion. He gonna end up beating. That feud with him and Lashley. They just put a pause in that. Lashley beat them. They put a pause on it. They're gonna build Almost back up. At some point in time, I wouldn't be shocked if he's the one that ends up beating Lashley.
Oh, he's definitely gonna be the one beat Lashley. And mark my words, the way he's gonna do it is he's gonna wind up making Lashley tap out. More than likely with his own move. Almost is gonna be champ. Listen, wrestling is a freak show. You come to see the big man. Come to see the big man. At the end of the day,
it's either going to be at SummerSlam or it's going to be at Clash at the Castle. Because SummerSlam is just in a few weeks.
And then the Clash is basically when SummerSlam should really be happening, usually be happening. They might be fighting at the Clash.
All right, boys. I think we covered everything we needed to cover tonight. Anything else y'all want to go into?
We got SmackDown tomorrow. Roman is coming back.
Appearing.
Roman is appearing. I put him on our bench because we are now back in the times of having to worry about getting cash in on. And so
Right.
Austin Theory can just be magically showing up. And Roman is on a limited schedule now. So Roman shows up, they're gonna announce it. That's going to make everybody tune in. Like, they're not slick. Oh, Roman is showing up. Oh, he could get cash in on.
Yep.
So
bench it is, baby.
So we could really be going into SummerSlam. SummerSlam, we already have Theory and Lashley happening. I think, we could honestly, if they really wanted to do some fuck shit, they could have Theory cash in tomorrow, win one of those titles, and then walk around at SummerSlam, go into SummerSlam as the champion, and you still have Roman versus Brock, and then you'll just have a world champion Theory going for the U.S. title. But I don't think that could possibly happen. I feel like we might get Theory versus Cena at Crown Jewel, like Reggie just said, for the briefcase. I feel like that briefcase.
That briefcase gonna get a hot potato. It might get a hot potato.
Or I feel like it's been a while. We haven't seen one of these, and we know the public, the wrestling fans in general, regardless of how you feel about Austin Theory, or what the reason why you don't like Austin Theory, you are getting the reaction they want.
Right.
You hate him. People visibly groan. They do not like when they hear "A-Town down." They do not like him. They did not like Baron Corbin. We could honestly get another failed cash in. You see him talking shit to Cena. Cena could really fuck him over. All you gotta do is play Cena's music. Turn around.
And you'll see a grown ass Kenny jumping up and down on the couch.
So
screaming at the top.
Some people just instantly went to Theory's winning the Money in the Bank. No, because unlike the women's Money in the Bank, people actually have failed.
Mm-hmm.
So they could honestly, we know Theory is the next guy up. Him winning the Money in the Bank does not mean he's going to win the world title. That just means he's in world title contention. He's in the world title's radar.
It's the thing though. What if Theory decided to get a partner and go for the tag titles?
I honestly feel like
it won't happen.
I feel like with the NXT breakout tournament, that's how they get away with not doing it, because the breakout tournament, we had Melo cash in his for the North American title. We had Roxanne's cashing hers on the NXT women's title. So it's like, well, you just get a title shot. The Money in the Bank, it depends on how they want to word it. Some years you can get a title shot. Then some years
it's a world
title. And then when Cody was around, they were like, "You'll main event WrestleMania." What? What are you talking about, Cody? Nobody's ever done that. Nobody does that. But it could happen. You could say Theory be like, "Hey, I want a partner. We'll cash in on the Usos." Maybe. Either way, it's got the bloodline. The bloodline has the target on their back. They got all the daggone titles.
Yeah. Let's get them belts off the Usos. They ain't got nothing to do with NWO. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook.com/UnderTheRing and Twitch.tv/UnderTheRingPod. Don't forget to follow us also on Twitter. You can follow us at our individual Twitter handles. You got the man, Mr. Weezy02, Greg Bush SK. You got me, Rock Ribs 44. You can follow me if you want. You can also follow, please do, Mr. Fresh Beard. Always got something political and always got something smart to say on here. And don't forget to follow. If you're looking for anything sports related, follow my man right here, The Right Answer. He puts up everything sports related also. And don't forget, Margo, you forgot one more hashtag that my boy Matt got to say. Our street team.
Borea Maleante.
Our street team captain who was with us today in the comments, who couldn't join us today because he is actually doing a little bit of what we all do every now and then, have our own little family time. So sometimes when you don't see us on here, that's what we're all doing. We're all having our little moments with our families and stuff like that. Lily, even if you're not watching, you shouldn't be, because Uncle Kenny and the rest of y'all curse a little too much, so you shouldn't be watching us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always. Please join us. Oh, I shouldn't have been cursing either, because my goddaughter watches. I gotta watch my mouth. Boy, oh boy, I messed up.
Oh, Lily says hi.
Hey, mama. We gotta start watching our mouth. I forgot we got little people watching. All right, we gotta do better, boys. But
Yeah.
Thank you as always. Join us next week. We'll see you. Peace.
God